sit through it.
Lee, is that you?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry I'm late. Just got a,
No, you're muted there, Lee, but we're ready to start when you are. There you go.
all right, let's call this meeting to order. Looks like we got a quorum to me. Okay, first item, roll call.
Shelley Memberto,
Yes.
Bill Connor,
Yes.
Ron Humboldt,
Yes.
Dennis Otto,
Yes.
Nick Hawkins, Lee Trucks,
Yes.
All right, let's approve the agenda there.
Okay, next item, approval of agenda. Zach, can you share that on the screen? Why
You
don't
want me
you
to share that on the screen?
share the whole package? And we can just go through things, and if people don't have it in front of them, they can take a look at it. In the meantime, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, second.
As presented.
Who was that again?
Bill.
Who was the second?
Ron.
Ron.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Any comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, at this point, we have public comment on agenda-related items.
No, we've got to
I
approve
need
the
to
minutes here.
approve the February 3rd
Approve the February 3rd minutes.
minutes.
Is there a motion?
I motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
For a second?
Second.
Second.
Second. Moved and seconded to approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes are approved. Okay, public comment on agenda-related items.
Is there anyone in the audience that has any comments on agenda-related items?
Hearing none, let's move on to new business, the SHPO grant discussion.
Just rolling through here. So unfortunately, this grant opportunity is expired. It expired on April 30th, but I think the sentiment here is that there are grants available through SHPO through the state, and the HDC is eligible for them. But in my capacity here, working in the planning department, I don't chase down grants. So, you know, I think Mark Miller's on here. Maybe he could be of help. I'm not going to speak for him, but that's something that the HDC will have to, the HDC is going to have to kind of handle on their own. So,
I did approach the DDA about the possibility of cooperating on a grant, and they seem to be interested in it, the people that I talked to, but there wasn't any movement in time before that grant expired. So, Mark, you have any comments on that?
Yeah, thank you, Lee. So as with many things, we struggle with capacity and the amount of time that it takes to do a number of things. The chamber is very excited to hear that the county is exploring a grant writer position for the county that we are hoping, the chamber is hoping that many of us will be able to utilize and work with a full-time person who will be able to track grants, write grants, follow up on opportunities, and basically bring resources to the county. I know that I struggle with a few of these myself, where you can go out after a USDA grant, but you've got to fill out 100 pages worth of application. So it makes it very hard. But if we had a full-time dedicated person, that would be helpful. And so I would recommend to the members here keep track of that effort. And if they have an opportunity to talk to a county commissioner, please advocate for that position being funded at the county level.
Is this something that would be through the planning department, Zach?
the grant writer position, it's still in the air. I know how my director feels about it. I think I know how Mark feels about it. I'm not going to speak for anyone, but I think there's still a lot of kinks to work out in that whole process and how it's going to work.
Okay.
And it appears to be in the County Ways and Means Committee for deliberation and discussion right now. Chairman Dauntz from the County Commission is working on that, and he is aware of our advocacy, as well as Karen Goodman. So.
All right. Moving on. 435 River Street windows. Zach, can you scroll down to?
Yeah, so I'll just go straight to the pictures. How about that? So we've got the pictures here. I don't think Joe's in the audience. I know he's been struggling to get on these meetings and stuff. So basically, from my understanding, Joe's went and put these windows in. He's at the side corner there on 435 River, and this is on, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, better. This is not on River Street. This window, it's on the side.
It's on Oak Street.
On Oak Street. Okay.
Yeah.
So he had put these in without a certificate of appropriateness, and we're just kind of waiting to hear what the commission feels on this and how they want to move forward. Mark, I'll let you're kind of the expert and have seen this live action. So
Yeah, as far as I know, the windows were installed back in August of last year. Originally, is there a wider shot, Zach? Or is it just
I think it's just these, yeah.
Okay. Originally, those were openings. That was another entrance to that building originally. Several years ago, John Smith, who had the building formerly, he was allowed to cover up that entrance with that wood that he painted black. And that was kind of that. So with the windows, Joe put those in without any approval from the HDC or myself. If he would have come to see me, I would have directed him right toward the commission to seek approval for that. Stuff like that wasn't there originally. If you're gonna fix it up, or if you're gonna have a plan in place to fix it up or to make it look nicer, then you have to see the commission in order to do that, to get a approval for it. Because as we look at the exterior of the building, it's not just the River Street side, it's the entire building, the back of the building, the side of the building. So I think the issue here is, you know, are you gonna just approve this and let Joe have these windows look like this and have this be okay? Or what steps do you want to take in order to rectify the situation? Whether it's put wood up again, I don't know. But something has to be approved on this in order to move forward with it in one way or another. So it's just an issue that needs to be brought up, and I don't want anyone to have any extra money or pay or have them pay out a ton of money to take those windows out again. So it's kind of a complicated matter. So it's up to the commission to decide how they want to move forward with it.
So Mark, he probably just didn't know that he was supposed to come to the commission?
Well, I don't know for sure. Several years ago, Joe completely redid his building, which was located just up the street, and he worked closely with myself and the HDC to do all that. So at that point in time, he knew that it was the exterior of the building. So I don't know if he didn't think that it was supposed to be the side of the building too, or just the front. I'm not clear on that.
Well, the building looks like it badly needs paint all around. What about a deal that we'll let this go if he'll paint the building?
Well, are you just talking about the wood?
No, I'm talking about the whole building.
Covering up the former entranceway there on the side. I
was referring to the whole building. It's all pretty bad.
Well, you know, the building can't be painted because it's never been painted before. So that's a stipulation with the HDC. If a building has never been painted before, then we can't paint it. But that's another issue we're going to talk about here in a couple minutes in regards to another property here on River Street. But yeah, so I mean, I think that's the major issue. Do we just approve this for Joe, and is he going to do anything else in regards to fixing this up, or is it just going to be the windows with the tape around them?
That's what I was wondering, is there even a trim package? I mean, something that can make it at least presentable.
You know, to me, this is putting those windows there is totally inappropriate. And I don't see why we should approve it. I would like to see some other proposal that at least tries to come close to what was originally there. I don't see anything really that's appropriate about what he's done. I don't see how we can approve it.
I agree, Lee. I think that he should come back with us with something that is, well, maybe he could work with Mark too. And I mean, that just doesn't get it as far as what we're trying to accomplish here. So I don't know if we can direct him to come back with another alternative plan.
Yep, that would be appropriate for you guys to ask.
Did you get it's shot at a wide angle, but did you receive those couple pictures I scanned and sent to you about last Wednesday or so? That show the entranceway as it was, and this would have been 1978. It's not the greatest photo. I can probably find something else. I'd do a little more digging around, but this is what I had on my computer at the time. Would have been May 12th. or excuse me, May 5th.
Where did you send that, Mark?
I sent that over to Zach.
Can you see it right there?
No,
All right, 1 second.
I don't know if you can switch your screen or what.
Is that the one you're referring to?
That's what I'm referring to. Yeah, it's taken at a wide angle, of course, but you can see, and you can still see the outline of what was there on the building, where the brick is at. The brick is a lot brighter because it was covered up. So if you drive by it today, you can still see the outline of all that was there. So there was two doors in the middle, and then on both sides were storefronts, basically. And it was just another entrance into that building.
And which building is this?
This is 435 River, but it goes from River Street, and the building is and it goes all the way to the back of Water Street.
It's on the south end of the road.
Yeah.
What's there now?
Joe has his upholstery shop there now.
Okay, I know where it is.
And it's been, like I said, it's been covered up. The HDC allowed John Smith to cover it up, probably 7 or 8 years ago, I think. I think it had been previously covered up with some kind of junky looking wood, and they asked him to cover it up and paint it, and so or do something with it, and so that's what was there. I mean, it didn't make it look any better, but so I don't know what to do with this one.
So my suggestion would be is if the HDC feels necessary, they could hold off on Joe doing anything else, and they can rectify this. And if that's new windows, if that's a new door, whatever it is, but that's a request you guys can make of him.
And I mean, what if you just put wood up again and painted it? I mean, that flew before several years ago with Mr. Smith. I mean, can Joe just go ahead and do that again?
Well, I like the suggestion someone else made that let's go to him and tell him that, this is not being approved, and for him to present to us his alternative plan that might let this window survive or might not, but let him come back to us with his ideas on how to deal with the situation.
Bill, do you want to make a motion?
I don't know if anybody else have any
They're off
comment
my
before I do.
volume.
Say what?
I think Ron was talking to his wife.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll make a motion then that we not approve these windows as they exist now, and ask him and tell him that we want to work with him and ask him to come back with a proposal to make it more acceptable.
It's under there.
Do we have a second for that motion?
Second.
Shelley seconded it. Any discussion?
Yeah, what if he comes back and says, I want to put the wood and paint it? I mean, is that any better than these windows now? That looks there. I mean, the wood painted, I know it was there, but it looks pretty bad too, really.
Yeah, it looks bad either way. I think that's
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's going to be an alternative just to put back the wood, I'm not sure the windows isn't better, even though I know what you're saying about, that wood looks pretty bad, just the wood painted there.
Well, and I'm assuming that he didn't do that because there's an enormous cost to windows that size. If you're just going for the one plate, is that why he inserted that awful looking window?
I'm guessing so.
Yeah, I would imagine probably because maybe he wanted some, and I'm just guessing, maybe he wanted some light back there, some natural light instead of just being completely boarded up. But we'd have to ask him why that was done. I don't know.
Hey, Mark, directed at you there. What if he mounted a fake door?
I think that would be okay. I think,
So it would look like an opening, but it's just not usable.
yeah, I mean, as if it I guess we'd have to see what that's gonna look like.
Right,
But if it gives the impression that there's a door there, I mean,
right, just not used, but I think it would look better than just painted black wood up there again. I mean, at least it'll look like something.
Make
Would
it
that be,
look like
would that be, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Make it look like it goes upstairs like some of the other,
Yeah, I mean, you could take just a door and mount it up there and finish it off and trim it and just, it'll just be a fake door.
You know, I think at this point in time, we should just accept the motion as presented. And any other alternatives that are presented to us, we discuss those on their own merits. I would like to see him come back with something that very nearly resembles what was there before, and I don't want to give him any ideas that there are other things that we think are wonderful, because we aren't. If he comes back and says, well, I'll just take the window out, put the board up the way it was before, we'll deal with that when it happens.
Mark,
Okay.
I'm considering amending my own motion to
We
also
have to
say,
finish that motion before you go alter anything.
I can't amend it?
There's already a second on it.
Okay,
So you could deny the vote that you have right now and then go back and change it.
we have a motion on the floor right now to send the application back to Joe Matheson and ask him to come back with a plan that is more acceptable to the Historic District Commission.
Is that accurate, Nancy?
Yep, that's right.
Can we have a roll call vote on that?
So before we start that, if you want to alter your motion, Bill, you guys would have to vote this down and present a new motion that gets seconded.
No, I don't want to alter my motion at that.
Okay, okay, we're good.
Okay. Okay. Shelley Memberto,
yes.
Bill Connor,
Yes.
Dennis Otto,
Yes,
Ron Humboldt,
yes,
Lee Trucks.
Yes. All right, moving on. Vogue Theater tiles.
Hi there, Mary Russell. Sarah Herberger's also on the call.
Yeah, hi, Sarah Herberger here.
And we have that application up again, Zach? Okay,
Does that work?
yep.
So for this one here, I'm thinking some of us have talked about it. So there's some damage to the tiles in the front of the Vogue Theater there. Their applicant's proposal is to use a stamped concrete to cut out those damaged ones that's got some water leaking in there. And that's kind of to save the rest of them. I spoke to the contractor yesterday on it, and he told me that there would be a lot that he could save out of there, but he can't really tell until he gets in there. So it might just be he saves a handful, or he might be able to save whole sections. And that would be for future repairs or anything like that.
Correct. That's correct.
So I'll let Mary explain anything more than that.
Well, based on the write-up, what else is happening is because they've been damaged, they have a tendency to hold water, and then they freeze. And based on where we live, this is what happens. And so what it's done is also created a spot that is raised up, and then the water flows toward the building. And that's wrecking more tile as we go along. So we want to nip this in the bud now. It's gone too far as it is. And we'd like to get this taken care of now. The tiles are no longer available. These particular tiles are interior tiles, not exterior. They're no longer made and they can't be reproduced. I've been working on this for 3.5 years, trying to figure out solutions. So that's why once we found this gentleman and we got going on some other ideas, we like the look of this because it takes the red and frames it along and then complements the building. The other thing is we'd like to get on this right away as soon as possible because of the fact that right now the Vogue is only open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We do have to close off the front of the theater to be able to do the work, the construction. So we don't want to have to close the theater for any days to get this done. And now we can do it because we have 4 days in order to take care of it.
Well, this seems like about the only viable solution you have. You can't replace it, so all you can
Right.
do is match up with the existing building appearance, and I think this does it nicely.
Thank you. We really were excited when he came up with these suggestions, and then we got going on the color palette and we thought, oh my gosh, this could really come out to be pretty nice, you know, a nice entrance, because we, you know, when you're walking into the Vogue and you've got all these broken tiles and then you walk in, I mean, everybody's like, oh, wow. I don't know if they expect it's going to be broken in there too, or.
And Mary, I don't know if I missed it or you addressed it. So are you able to seal or put some kind of protective coating over the remainder of the tiles that are there?
Yes, we are. We have located some that actually the contractor steered us in the right direction to be able to find a product that will take care of sealing those tiles, and then we'll do it on a more regular basis. We don't think they've ever been sealed. It does not look like they've ever, 1938, and they've never been sealed. So hopefully we're trying to buy another, 80 some years out of this front. So that will be something that we will definitely, in fact, the contractor's going to do it for us to make sure it's done properly.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hey, do we have some action from the board?
I have one more thing here, quick. So in the planning office here, we kind of talked about some options that go along with this, and whether that's, you know, a little plaque that goes on the side of the building that says this is where the tiles used to be, or something like that, or you know, what's going to happen to those tiles that if you can save, or one's going to be replaced that are cracked maybe inside or aren't completely damaged in a big area, but a single tile has an issue, sort of thing. So we just wanted to put that in the HCC's brain here before they made any big sweeping motions, just things to think about, and if they wanted to do that or not, you know. So
Now, you said you talked to Pete,
yes,
the
yeah.
contractor? Okay. What we talked to him about on Monday when we met was the fact that he knows he can cut through the tile to get it out in squares.
Mhm.
What he doesn't know is whether or not he can separate it from the cement backing
Right.
to make a whole spot. And then we would actually redo it in that same format, tile by tile. So that's the plan, because we have 2 places inside the theater we want to use it. And then we want to get enough to be able to do the side entrance over in the corner to put that, because the tile that's there now, I don't know, that was probably original to the shoe store. I got a feeling.
That's the yellow kind of orange.
Yeah, that
tile.
beigey yellow. And that was the entrance to Snyder's Shoes. They used to be in that side location of the theater. So, but I have no idea. I'd have to check with Mark to see if that was the original or what's going on. So, but we're going to retain as much as we can. We've got boxes already purchased to go ahead and put them in, and to be able so that Pete can work on them after he gets them out.
All right, do we have some action on this item?
Well, I'll make a motion then that we approve the Vogue's tile restoration project as proposed.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the application of the Vogue Theater. Do we have any additional discussion?
Just real quick, Question, the red area is gonna be replaced, it's just gonna be the square blocks there, that's the stamping?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah. What it is he's just gonna, I think we've even, I'm not sure if I did indicate it. He's gonna put a regular brushed finish on the actual squares, the actual cement squares. So
right,
it's,
well, foot traffic and slipping, and yeah, you need something on there.
right. Did I answer that question okay?
Yes, fine. thank you.
Okay. All right.
I just hope the color matching is better than what was done on some of the stamped concrete that we have in other places. And
Well, that's why he is diligently trying to go now and find it, because every time he goes to Elmer's, they want to sell him what they have in stock.
yeah,
And he's like, no, this is no question. It has to be this color, So he's just hitting all of his supply people and he'll get the right one.
okay.
Yeah, believe me, Julie and I are on top of that.
Mr. Chair, could I just add a quick thing for the record? And I do agree that something needs to be done here, and I don't know what the answer is, and if this is what the commission decides, it's great. And I know Mary's worked really hard on it. I just want to go on record as saying, with those tiles, I mean, those were original to the building, and it was kind of meant to be the yellow brick road into the Vogue, to pull people into it. And I really hate to see a portion of that gone. And that's just my personal opinion, and there's some historic value to that, but something needs to be done. And if the commission feels this is the right thing, well, then I guess we'll do it. But I just wanted to go on record as saying that. So
We do have a huge safety factor, Mark.
yeah, and I do realize you're in a bind, Mary.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I understand that. I just wanted to add my 2 cents to it.
Well, and I understand from where
Yeah.
you sit. I get it. I totally get it. And we're all feeling terrible that this is the solution, but it's
Sure.
Yeah.
If the tiles, the original tiles are no longer available, I don't know what other
There
route
isn't
you
any.
can go.
Right.
Was there
Right.
another set of doors there? I'm curious why they were interior tiles.
It
Because it's
was,
in the lobby. Oh, you mean why they put them on the outside?
Yeah, I'm curious if there was like a second set of doors out there.
Honest to God, nobody's alive to ask.
I think it was meant as a design feature to
Right.
pull toward, get people into the Vogue, basically, to kind of say, oh, what is this? Follow the yellow brick road type of a thing, get you in there.
But
And
it wouldn't have been, I don't think they took into consideration, I don't know, maybe nobody really thought about interior and exterior tile in 1938.
maybe not, I don't know. Yeah, that's, I don't know.
Quick question. Would it be feasible, or has anybody looked into just going over with a newer tile over these that resembles the design?
Nobody makes them. I've looked everywhere, checked with everybody, had different tile people that I've known in different parts, not just Michigan, but we've looked everywhere. And there's nothing that they can come up with that would be exactly matching that. In fact, it looks pretty bad when you see what some of the samples they sent us. It wasn't even close. So, and we sent them samples because we've got all the ones that have chipped off already. We've got them in a bag in the office. We've got samples, but it's
Mary, have you tried Arizona? I know that's a ways out there, but
one
they
of the
do an awful-
contractors did. Yeah, but you're talking Arizona. If I don't have exterior tiles in Arizona, it's no big deal. Here it is.
No, I'm saying if they have an unbelievable selection out there because they do so much of that work out there.
Well, it became cost prohibitive after you get to a certain point, but I never
Right.
found anybody that would even give me a price on it. That's the problem.
Right.
We couldn't even get anybody to give us a price. Besides which they just weren't able to do it. I don't know how else to explain it to you, but
Sure.
they just weren't able to do it. Because that would have been a perfect solution. We'd have jumped on that.
Right. Okay, just a thought.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Is there any more discussion? Nancy, can we call the roll?
Shelley Memberto,
Yes.
Bill Connor,
You're muted, Bill.
Oops, sorry about that. Yes.
Yeah.
Dennis Otto,
Yes,
Ron Helmbolt,
yes,
Lee Trucks,
Yes. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you all very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Okay, next item is old business, Ed Christowitz update. I don't think there's anything we really can discuss here. We don't have any application in front of us. And
There's no application, but you guys did request that he give you updates to make sure he was making progress on that project. And so this is these are the attached some emails, and he's continued to give them to us. So I've included the last couple here. We've got the facade look that he's going for there, and I think we kind of discussed this in an unofficial meeting. I think, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, it used to be a car dealership?
That was Oldsmobile dealership, constructed about 1950.
Okay. So, as far as how that looks, the commission could, if that's not anything they want, they could let them know right now. As we scroll down here, he gave a lot of detailed drawings here. A lot more than I think we normally require. So this is his most recent email. He said he was waiting on bids. The cost of construction is really high, is the highest he's ever seen. And he's kind of hoping they come down. Unfortunately, the cost of construction isn't really our concern. When I believe he's already on an extension, so that's just his update for that. If there's any questions, I guess I'll try to field them the best I can.
I'm kind of glad to see he has responded. We've had so many people make application and then we never hear from him again. So I'm kind of glad he's following up.
Anyone else?
moving on. Do we have any permits to review?
None at this time.
Okay, public comments and communications concerning items not on the agenda.
Mark there.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Can we meet in person next month?
Be great.
We will see what the city has. I think I could be mistaken. I think it's June is when the emergency orders are up. Mark, you might know better than I do.
It was
No,
5:24,
but
I thought. Just read it.
I thought I had read it was like the middle of June. But as soon as we can, we will.
I notice we have a public back from the chamber. Are there any public comments and communications?
Yes, Lee, I wouldn't mind taking a moment of time if that's okay. So I wanted to just reintroduce myself, of course, but hit a couple of highlights and developments that are happening downtown, and make myself available for comments at least today for you all. One, on the DDA, I want to let you know that we have originally started taking over the DDA as a chamber to do the executive director functions, more or less as a team approach, so everyone would have a little bit of work. We're starting to move towards a program where Christina Bajka is the point person on DDA issues. And so I've encouraged folks to reach out to her as you need to work on the DDA work. I continue to be the point of contact for developers or incoming businesses, as my role as the Director of Economic Development. And we're happy to work with folks in that regard. Fricano's on Manistee River, and working with Ted Fricano is my role, and continue to work with Ted on a number of things. He put in for a DDA facade grant, and it was approved today by the DDA board, pending HDC approval. So he'll be coming to you all when there is a plan, a finalized plan. He has preliminary drawings. He hasn't made up his mind yet on how he'll treat the facade work. But he is striving to find some inspiration in some of the buildings around him, and what that might look like. But one thing is for certain, he will be going up with the facade height that will help cover the exhaust equipment that he will be required to be putting in for the kitchen. He has to bring that up to code. He'll want to try to hide that from street view, much as I know right now about that project. But he is still working on that, and I've seen some preliminaries, but he says he's not quite ready yet. So we'll put him in touch with Zach. Mark, I'll make sure to do that properly next time. Put him in touch with Zach for the channel and the conduit into this commission. While I'm talking about developments, I had a prospective buyer and a well-resourced developer look and actually put in a purchase agreement on the Northern Hotel, 141 and 149 Washington, and was working with him on possible incentive packages. Reached out to Mark on preservation tax credits and the state SHPO as well. The developer we were working with pulled the plug on April 30th, realized that there was just too much work there to make that work for him on the pro forma business documents. We had a very large delta in terms of what he needed in incentives to make that work. We were piecing together an OPRA, the DDA facade grant, and trying to find other ways to incent him to do a mixed-use development and reutilize that building. But he pulled out. So it's now on the market again, and I'm hoping we can find a business owner developer who would be well-resourced. But I'm finding with many of the properties downtown that the amount of work that is necessary to bring things up to code for specific commercial uses is very, very difficult. So we're putting our heads together now and trying to figure out ways to incent those types of projects. Another project that we thought was up on the market and could be promoted, the Music Vault, 348 River Street. That actually has come off of the market, and the current owners are wanting to take another crack at doing work in the building. We're reaching out to them to see what their plans are and try to work with them on our end, on the economic development end. I'm sure they'll be working through Zach at some point. And we have some really great projects moving forward. kind of stole a lot of my thunder that it was in the front page of the paper today. So you got my update from City Council put into print. But we continue to work on the Gateway project and preparing that site, which is outside of the historic district, but we are continuing to work with Little River Holdings on that project and preparing it. And on the other end, also outside the district, our Lakeshore Hotel project is moving forward. We're very pleased with some of the changes they've made, listening to public input. They're going to be great neighbors if they come in, and we appreciate that, finding those kinds of developers that appreciate public input. And
No.
so that is where we're at, and we're happy to take any questions, but look forward to having more dialogue, and I think to be back in person at some point.
Mark, what about the project that was proposed for sort of across from Triconis?
Oh, across from Fricano's?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is, thank you for reminding me of that. I certainly should have brought that up. We'll call that the River Water Development. And so it would have the Amor Sign property, the former Amor Sign property, for 45 units or 46 units of senior and workforce housing. It also would include the Jones Dairy Building, and I believe that's 353, but I'm not sure if I got the number right, River Street, in the Dorothy Jones Trust. That building was part of the project and would have office space below, renovated, but historically accurate preservation work, and then having 3 apartments upstairs. That's the project. It is reliant upon MISTA and LIHTC funding. So they have put in the application. The developers have told me recently that they're expecting a decision in June from MISTA, and that will be the appropriate timeline to find out how well they scored. That type of funding is very competitive, and they've already had one project in at the Wagner Center for senior housing that didn't go through because of lack of points, didn't score high enough to be competitive. So we want to continue to keep them engaged, wish them luck, and we're hoping for some good news. But they're counting on that Jones Trust building, the dairy building, in order to help give them additional historic preservation points and help get them into that work, that sweet spot. Another piece I will tell you that's part of their sweet spot that we need to acknowledge is that moving the project to near downtown within 1/3 of a mile gives them extra points because our downtown is considered or scores very highly on the walkability score. It's an 83, if that means anything to folks. That's pretty high. And so that's a desirable location to put those types of projects so that can be walkable. If we continue to work on filling in, say Washington Street at some point, a vision, not necessarily a near term ideal thing, but if we can continue to infill and with commercial mixed use development, reutilize our existing buildings or whatnot, we'll expand that walkability score and help maybe identify some additional locations. But for right now, that's why they're going for that river water development site.
Is there anything else in public comments and communications? The only other thing I might mention, Mark, is that we had a training session, which I some of the board members couldn't attend, from Lisa Rosemerick, who is, one of the top historic architects in the United States right now. She's from Manistee, but she lives in New York City. She volunteered herself to be a consultant on projects. And if you're not aware of that, Mark, I think that's probably something that you should follow up on, because she's extremely knowledgeable and knows Manistee inside and out, because she's a native of Manistee. And I think can be very helpful to owners who are looking at, doing both in terms of, the historic reservation, but also in terms of like the Boathouse Restaurant building, where you're looking for some ideas about something that would be compatible with our existing downtown. So I just wanted to add that.
Thanks, Lee. If someone is able to make a virtual introduction by email, that might be helpful to encourage
I can
communication.
handle that, Mark.
Okay, and then
I can do that too.
thank you. The second idea that, Lee, I apologize for coming back with another update, but I failed to remember this, so you jogged my memory with the discussion on Lisa. Several months ago, we had a joint meeting at City Council, which involved the HDC board, and it was for the Redevelopment Ready Communities program to kind of re-up Manistee and keep us in that program. And we identified a number of different development ready sites that could be developed. Many of them were downtown, as they probably should be. I just want to give you a quick update. I do appreciate those who took advantage of our meeting and the online tool that we presented. We used a survey, which actually I just thought it made sense to do that since we weren't meeting in person and can't put sticky dots on boards. But apparently MEDC thought that was novel enough to show the rest of the state how to do that. But I didn't realize I was an innovator. But I just wanted to say thank you to all of you. I am still trying to get a memo back to the boards and commissions and city council with the prioritization. And plus with Northern Hotel going in and out and the vault coming back on or off of the list, I need to do some adjustments to it. But the tool wasn't innovative enough to make the reporting easy. And so I'm crunching numbers. And so I'm still making time to try to do that. So hopefully you'll see something from that. And if there's any additional input, I would welcome that from HDC members, but just thank you for the opportunity to spend time and help us prioritize. Thanks, Lee.
Okay, moving on, we are at reports. DDA Economic Development, I think we've received a very good report. Museum Curator.
I have nothing.
And Museum Director, you have nothing.
Nothing.
Planning and Zoning Administrator.
I've got, I think Mark covered it there with just the influx of development coming into the city. I think the HDC is going to be seeing a lot more action, for lack of a better word. So strap in, guys.
Okay, member discussions. At this time, the chair will ask members of the Historic District Commission if they have any items they want to discuss. And the suggestion is the 354 River Street painting. What is 354?
354 was the former Sunrise Bakery. It was a Sunrise Fabric store up until the last year or so. And I asked Zach to put this on for member discussion. Just a couple bought the building last year, and they want to paint it, but one of the stipulations, as I mentioned earlier, about Joe's building is that if a brick has never been painted before, then it's a stipulation that it's not painted. Well, there's a section, I don't know, Zach, I don't know if you have that picture that I sent to you a while back. There's a section in the entranceway of that building that's not original to the building, but was put in sometime in the early 1970s, early to mid 1970s, and it's never been painted before, but the applicant would like to paint it. And so this is something over the years, I've never really dealt with. So I thought I'd throw it at the commission to see what their thoughts are on it. I probably sent it to you probably, but yeah, there it is right there.
I couldn't get it any bigger, but
Yeah, it's kind of a small, but if you can look, you can kind of see what I mean. They want to paint it, that's no problem. But right underneath the window, the front windows there, that was all put in the 1970s. They want to paint all that brick that's unpainted. And I told the applicant that I would see with the commission what the idea or what their thoughts were on it.
So the rest of the building is painted?
The rest of the building is painted, yeah.
Oh,
And it has been painted over the years.
Oh, then I wouldn't have any issue with that.
Yeah, so that green we're seeing, that's paint, that's not a brick.
That's paint. The brick is underneath the front windows, which was all put in. That's why it's never been painted before, because it was all put in. It's not an original part of the building, but it's never been painted before. And so it's coming up on about 50 years or so. And anything 50 years or older is considered historic. So that's why we historic building wise, not I've been burnt on that before. I'm sorry. Historic in terms of the historic district commission, anything that's been 50 years or older is considered historic. So I'm not quite sure the exact year that was put in, but it was sometime in the 1970s. I can tell by photographs. So I just wanted to tell her one way or another, hey, go ahead and do it. She wants to paint it. Honestly, I just want a little direction, I guess, as to what to tell her.
Is it just that little section that she wants to paint, or does she want to paint all the green?
She's gonna paint the entire building and
good.
wants to paint that section as well.
I think I'd look great if they did that.
Okay. I just wanted to double check and make sure, so.
Do you need a motion?
I think
No,
it'll great.
I don't think we need a motion on it. I can just give her the direction. It's something I've never encountered before, so when I have questions like this, I like to bring it up to the commission to see what their thoughts are and can kind of point me in one direction or another of what to tell the applicant.
Okay, does anybody have an objection to allowing paint in this area that we could tell Mark?
Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah,
No objection, I'd say, Mark, use your judgment.
Thank you.
and Mark, question for you. Are there certain color palette they have to use?
There's not really.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't want to see it painted like, neon orange.
No, and that's the stipulation. No, most of the time when someone comes in here and they want to paint their building and I can approve that, I just say, if they say, well, they ask if is there a specific color palette, and I say, well, there's anything but neon. I say, so she's gonna paint it, I think, kind of more of a maroon or red, or that's what she was looking at before. I mean, I think she's planning. To put like an awning up there, and she's looking at doing a couple different things to spruce it up, and I think it's gonna be great.
Excellent.
Yeah. So, all right, I will direct her in that direction. So appreciate it.
All right, second item is the Hart Building. $427 water.
so I don't see these applicants, well, they're not applicants yet. So there's a couple that has come to the planning commission and they canvassed the board. And as I was digging through it and stuff, I came under the realization, thanks to Lisa Rosemary, that they actually need HDC approval to change the use even. If 427 is the Hart Building, I think it's a lawyer's office now, and it used to be, Mark, what was it?
It was built for the Michigan Bell Telephone Company. That's where all the operators were in with all the big switchboards, and it was built in 1906.
So this couple wants to convert it into a single family home. The way they want to do it, they were suggested to use an adaptive reuse, which which is a special use in the zoning ordinance. In my opinion, that's not really the intent. The intent is to kind of, the reverse is to make buildings multi-unit, to make them businesses, not to make businesses into single family residences in a downtown, in the middle of a downtown district. That being said, they still have, if they want to go through it, I can't really stop them, but they have, if the HDC doesn't feel comfortable that building changing use from a traditional business into a residence, that they could stop it right there. So they haven't come forward with anything, but I figured I would get it on everyone's radar.
Zach, say more of why you're uncomfortable with that, going into residential.
What was that, Bill? I didn't quite catch it.
Why are you uncomfortable with it going residential?
So for that, so single family residence is not an allowable use in the C3 district. So they basically get a house in the middle of the downtown district, but they don't have any of the house setback rules like you would have it in the regular neighborhood. They don't, there's no setbacks in the C3. The other issue that they would be running into is they're talking about buying the vacant lot parcel next to it and possibly build a garage or whatever. And every corner you turn on this, it opens another bag of worms of where it's a real questionable decision from a zoning administrator. That's not what you guys have to deal with. You guys have to deal with, the HDC, the historic value of that. So in the process, you guys give the okay of whether you're comfortable with that use being changed or not.
If we were comfortable with that use, I'm not saying I am, but if we were, would we lose jurisdiction over a garage or whatever they might want to build?
So that vacant lot is still in the historic district.
That was the dot. Oh,
And anything built there is going to require HDC approval. There's still some foundation there from, I think, the old newspaper.
It was the Daily News was there originally, and then it became the News Advocate. But part of that, yeah, the ruins are still there, a small portion of it.
So, I mean, that would be something that the HDC would really have to look at, and what they wanted to do with that, and are they comfortable with letting that go if they want that taken out for a new building to go there, or maybe a new building has to adhere to that foundation. I don't know, but that's that's another stopping point. It's like, all right, well, we really have to sit down and think about what's going to happen if this gets approved.
Well, and when they presented, and correct me if I'm wrong, Zach, they seemed very open to guidance from the city for ideas on how to make it look seamless. They didn't really want to change the architecture, the exterior. They just wanted to live there.
Right. They from the sound of it, they didn't want to make any alterations to the exterior. Instead, the front door is a glass door.
Yeah, I walked by. I took my dog for a walk.
That's what some people are comfortable with. I guess that's fine. But not in any case, if any alterations are going to have to come to the HDC again, barring you guys approve the change of use.
It seems to me that if our concern is to maintain the historical appearance of the downtown area, and if we could maintain control over those changes, whether it's residential or commercial or multi-use, doesn't really matter, just as long as they maintain the appearance that we want of the historical district. I can appreciate you have planning commission concerns, but I'm not sure they're historical commission concerns.
Right. And like I said, this is just to kind of get it on your radar if they come forward with anything. I just didn't want you guys to be blindsided on a meeting when.
Well, also we're looking at the proposed residential where the Amores is, and across the street. I mean, if they were talking about taking a storefront and all of a sudden changing it into a totally residential building, I think that's different, but we have nothing to deal with at this point except what Zach is telling us. We don't have any application or any plans or anything. So I'd be comfortable myself with just saying, let's wait and see what they're gonna do, you know?
Right. And that's just it, is, you know, until we see anything, it's hard to determine, but you know, having this use change and this being, you know, on your guys' shoulder, this is their first hurdle, is to go through HDC, then they have to go through the planning commission. They've got numerous hurdles, but I was just putting everybody on the same page. I didn't want to, you know, make anyone unaware if I could help it.
All right. Any other member comments?
Zach, you probably don't know this, but we used to receive a one-page summary of all of the properties that we have outstanding permits on. And I'm not sure we necessarily need to continue that, but did we consciously discontinue it?
That might have been something that was done as a courtesy previously. As the contract's written, I just facilitate. So, you know, I don't technically, we don't even have to make the packet. We just continue that as a courtesy. It's something that we're working on with the city and that whole contract. If that's something you guys would like, let me know, and I can, as we're discussing that with the city, I can let them know that that's another item that we'd have to add on.
Well, you could talk to Nancy about that. She's the one that I think prepared it before. So.
You used to do that?
Do what?
Make a summary of the properties.
We used to get a report that showed all the current projects. And
Oh,
what
that
the
one.
information was.
I'd have to look that one up. I think there was one.
I could probably dig up one of them and give
Yeah.
it. So
I
that's
think
just.
I know what he's talking about.
All right, any other items?
We can work on that if that's
Yeah.
if that's something, you know, informally you guys
Yeah.
would like to see more of. That's something we can move forward with and try and get that on the contract. So please let me know if that is that a consensus? I mean, I don't think you need to make a motion, but if everybody would like that.
Does everybody feel that that's something we should have?
I think it's beneficial.
Yeah, they could be useful.
All right, you hear that, Zach?
All right, that's enough for me. I can move forward with trying to see if we can take that anywhere.
We'll work with that.
All right, then I think adjournment is in order.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Who was the first on that? Was that Ron?
Yeah, Ryan can have it.
Ron and Dennis.
Ron and Dennis.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate everybody being able to get together for this special meeting. I know that it made Mary and Sarah real happy to finally get the approval on that. So let's hope we have a whole bunch of projects to discuss next month, you know, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Okay.